Hello and welcome to Provoking Tech. I'm Zach, and in this week's episode of the Cloud Gaming Report, we have a little bit of news on the LiquidSky GPU update and some early analysis on that and what that might actually mean for us, the end user, and also some news about the new GeForce Now update to the beta, which is 6.5. So without further delay, let's go ahead and jump right to it. So I'm going to pull up some information real quick on the GPU update. And as you can see here, I have some screen caps from the official community forums for LiquidSky. The reason I chose screen caps rather than pulling up the forum itself is just so that we could focus on the comments directly from the LiquidSky staff and cut out all the other noise so we can get to the point of this episode. So in their blog post, they show a screenshot of their new GPU that they're testing, which is the NVIDIA Grid P100. This is replacing the current GPU, the NVIDIA Grid M60. Of course, they're only in the testing phase right now, so everything isn't set in stone, and this upgrade potentially might never happen, but this is what they're looking at currently. And they do state that they're not really expecting performance upgrades, but focusing more on stability with this GPU update. They also state that they're working on testing a new streamer, which possibly might help with the FPS a bit, but what they're also focusing on with this is going to be stability and quality of the stream. And for this news, I definitely have to give them an applause, and hopefully everything comes out good. This has been a complaint of mine for LiquidSky for quite a while, with the quality of the stream not being on par to what I would expect. Every once in a while you get the graphical glitches that cause the screen to turn green or like glitchy, or the image becomes blocky, even though the stream quality should be plenty fine with the bandwidth that we're currently utilizing. So just those weird issues, and hopefully, and by what they're saying, it seems like they're focusing on stability and quality, and hopefully that actually comes out and we actually see some real world improvements from both the GPU and the streamer update. Of course, this is still in the testing phase, so we might never see this, but it does look like they might be listening to the community and trying to get some improvements, because 2017 wasn't a great year for LiquidSky. They launched the 2.0 version of their application, and it was not a graceful upgrade. There's a lot of issues. Things took a lot longer. There was very horrible communication from the LiquidSky staff to the communities, the community forums. The community forums were not a great place to be. There's a lot of anyways, I'm not going to dig too deep into that. Some more moderation probably would have been great on the forums at that time, and more communication from the community managers would have been great. But alas, that is the history. But they had a backpedal on a lot of the features that they're trying to push with the 2.0 upgrades, such as the ability to earn Sky credits through watching ads and having free gameplay time. They backpedaled all of that. So we really didn't see any improvements really with LiquidSky in 2017. So hopefully with these two upgrades that they're currently testing, that will mean some good improvements for LiquidSky in 2018. So the final little screenshot that I saw, I just had to bring it up because it's not entirely honest, or I guess it's not dishonest. It's mismarketing or misrepresenting the facts, and for people that are less than a know, it might make them think that they're going to get a major performance upgrade. So I did want to bring it up and talk about it real quick. They're comparing the P100 from Tesla to the GTX 1080, and it's showcasing that it's a much more powerful GPU, which it is, with over 1,000 more CUDA cores, more single precision processing power, more VRAM, and also HBM2 VRAM versus GDR5, more VRAM bandwidth, and so on and so forth. So it looks like it is a much more powerful card, which of course it is. What is failed to mention here, though, is the fact that the P100 is split up between multiple users, and most of us probably know that, but it wasn't entirely like listed there, and the direct comparison by listing those two GPUs was a little bit of mismarketing in my opinion. So I did want to bring it up, but I did give a much more valid, in my opinion, comparison by comparing the M60, the current GPU, with the Tesla P100. So you do see that the CUDA cores actually drops a little. This isn't something that I think we should really be worried about, because as the architectures increase, the cores, and CUDA cores don't mean everything, of course, but you become more powerful with each core anyways. So just because the CUDA cores are dropping doesn't mean we're going to see less power out of these GPUs. We're also seeing a pretty impressive increase to the actual base clock and the boost clock, with a 398 megahertz increase to the base clock and a 300 megahertz increase to the boost clock. And a big improvement here that I wanted to call out is the move from GDDR5 with the M60 to HBM2 with the Tesla P100, which is going to mean a ton more bandwidth for the VRAM. As you can see here, with comparison to the 1080 to the P100, we're seeing almost a double. And if I recall correctly, the M60 has less bandwidth actually than the GTX 1080, but I could be incorrect there. I do know that the Tesla P100 does increase the bandwidth because it's using HBM2. They do mention here that this won't necessarily translate into more VRAM for users, but I am holding out hope right now that they might increase the allotment for users, even going from 2 gigabytes for gamers and 4 gigabytes to pro users to something along the lines of 3 gigabytes for gamers and 6 gigabytes for pro users will be a welcome improvement and will allow you to eke a little bit more out of your GPU and have the VRAM be less of a restricting factor. We see that with the gamer tier, especially with being limited to 2 gigabytes of VRAM. Of course, by changing the VRAM allotment, if you do something like 3 and 6, that does slightly make the math to fully utilize the GPUs a little bit more difficult, but in the end it shouldn't be a showstopper. So I'm holding out hope that we possibly might see some increases to the allotments of the hardware itself that users are given with LiquidSky, as it would be a welcome improvement. And also on the CPU side, going from 3 CPU cores to 4, that would just be another welcome improvement on the hardware side. So that's pretty much all I had to talk about with the LiquidSky upgrade. Some good news in that they're focusing on stability and quality, and whether we actually see any performance upgrades, that will be what time tells. And of course, this still is only in testing, so these upgrades might actually never happen. So moving on over to GeForce Now, and a big shout out to Darren Malone real quick. He gave me access to his extra GeForce Now account, and I just got to say a big thank you. I haven't been able to test it, and now I can actually start including that and doing videos on GeForce Now. It's been a big hole in my cloud gaming coverage because GeForce Now is definitely going to be a major player once they exit their closed beta, simply because they have the power of NVIDIA. And as I'm seeing, as I've been doing testing, it is a very powerful setup. I played some PUBG on it, and it was very impressive, very fluid. I had everything maxed out and didn't have any quality issues at all. And I can't capture the frame rates because I can't install fraps on it, as far as I have figured out any hack to do that. But anyways, it seems to be a great experience, but I can't accurately capture the frame rates, which is something disappointing. And there are some things I don't love about the service. The fact that it is a closed library. I hope they add support for like Origin access, which is like $10 a month. I don't know exactly how much it is, but I think it's about $10 a month. And you get a host access to a whole host of games from EA, and also the Microsoft Game Pass. If they added support for the Windows Store, would be cool too, because you could have access to games like Sea of Thieves for $10 a month, and that's a big thing that it seems like Microsoft is going to be pushing quite heavily here in 2018. But anyways, enough on some of the general talk about GeForce Now. Today's topic is going to be focusing on their beta update, and that mainly focuses, if you go to your settings, to the quality. And you can turn this to off to only show warnings, or to have it always on. So I have it set to always on, and I'm just going to jump over to PUBG, which I've opened in the background. And it closed because I was AFK for too long. So let's reboot it up, guys. So this will take a second, but it will give me an opportunity to talk about GeForce Now a little bit longer as I go over some of my very first impressions. One thing I do like is that the fact that the GeForce Now client is kind of like a local client, and the games themselves, they kind of launch in a window that is for the game itself. It's interesting how they're launching that. I do really miss having access to the Windows desktop, but it kind of is interesting how they actually launch the games themselves. So as you can see here, before we actually even get to PUBG, we have a new bar over in the top right. I normally keep this off and only show warnings because it is pretty, it's large and it takes up a lot of room, and a lot of games put really important and pertinent information there. But as you can see here, you have a bar to showcase your quality to the GeForce server. This isn't like your Wi-Fi quality, even though it looks like a Wi-Fi beacon, but it's showcasing your quality of connection to the GeForce servers. And it also shows you what resolution and at what frame rate that you are currently streaming at. So as you can see here, I'm in PUBG and I currently have 4 bars. Most of the time I'm ranging between 3 and 4. It always stays between those two for the most part. Very seldomly does it dip below that. And I've been able to achieve the 1920 by 1080 at all points in time. So that's pretty much it for this episode of the Cloud Gaming Report, guys. I hope you found this episode enjoyable. Hopefully there was some good information here. We do have some possibly exciting improvements with LiquidSky in 2018, so it'll be interesting to see where that brings us. But anyways, if you did like this video, guys, give it a big like. I greatly appreciate that. Also, if you're not already an existing subscriber, smash that subscribe button to stay tuned for more great videos. Also, if you have any comments or thoughts about cloud gaming, leave those in the comments below, or possibly share this video with a friend of yours that might be interested in cloud gaming to help spread awareness of both cloud gaming and the Thought Provoking Tech channel. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, Zach out.